Progtime, the Layered Reality YouTube show.
Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Progtime. We are here in the second month of the year, second episode of 2025, and we get an action-packed episode for you with Lauren talking about goblins, Rowan talking about aliens, and James being the most sane person in the room. Imagine that. We never thought that would ever happen. But before we head into their segments, first here is the Layered Reality news for this month. Now, when you're watching this episode right now, we can say that the new EP from Seven Station, On Shoulders of Giants, is out now. You can check it out on all your streaming platforms. You can watch the music videos on this YouTube channel right here, and you can also watch a full visualizer. It's great to work with these people. I mean, I'm a big fan. Like, it's great to release a band that I'm also a fan of. So in that regard, it's like a double pleasure to be able to work on something as cool as this. And next up, we have our Transylvanian friends from Hteththemeth who are gearing up for their next album, Telluric in Harmonies, the first one that we from Layered Reality will be releasing worldwide. And already they've released multiple videos for multiple songs, which you can also check out on this here YouTube channel right here. And if you check them out, it will be good for your soul. At least I think it will be. So yeah, you should. And these guys have made an incredible record, which I'm also very excited to release soon, so we're now in the middle of promoting that. Also, for all of you reviewers out there might be some people watching who review records. If you want a copy of that record, hit us up, because we'd love to share it with all of you and we'd love to hear your opinion. And at the end, just another quick shout out to Ramage Inc. For those of you who are not in the know, they are now sharing more and more snippets of new material that will be coming this year. We're still very proud of Humanity Has Failed, and honestly, I'm still a fan of their earlier records. Like I said with Seven Station, working with bands that you like and with people you like is so cool. Like, it's still hard work, but the rewards are so good. So I'm very, very happy that we'll be releasing this music in the future. So that is all for the news segment from my end. I hope you guys are looking forward to some really, really obscure and cool stuff coming up next. And I think it's time to, normally I would say Lauren take it away, but maybe we should switch it up. You know what, Rowan? You can start this one. Rowan, take it away.
Good evening. Thanks for watching Progtime again. I'm Progfessor Rowan, and I'm coming to you from my new and upgraded laboratory. This episode, I'm going to talk about an album that I know very little actual definitive information about. The band is called XProxima, and the album is called Signals. It was released in January of this year, and it is a blend of symphonic, progressive, and top-shelf power metal. Now, I assume that these guys are independent because they released it on Spotify under the label Reticuli Records. Did my research, and that's just them. 25 monthly listeners on Spotify at this point, and only a YouTube channel which popped up as I was searching to find out something about this absolutely surprising, outstanding album that I can't seem to stop listening to. And it's a little unusual for me, since it's quite an amount of power metal in there. I think that their mysteriousness has to do with their overarching concept and the conceit of their album. It's a concept album of UFO stories told from the non-human point of view. I'm not saying these guys are aliens, but they claim to be channeling alien transmission until proven otherwise. They are aliens. Didn't realize how much of a story there was to this album until I heard the second song for the who knows how many time. Flying through New Hampshire skies, that sounds a little strange. Until I recognized the names repeated of Betty and Barney Hill, an interracial couple in 1950s New Hampshire who went on a vacation, and on their way back, they had a close encounter. It left them with a gap of hours and no idea what was going on. The title of the song, Interrupted Journey, is the title of a book that Betty wrote later after getting pretty obsessed with this. The obvious single, entitled Fukushima's Silent Witness. It's everything that's good in symphonic power metal in a very progressive manner. What's really unusual about this unusual album is that one of these aliens or alien accomplices obviously was an English major, because there's a great deal of variety in the rhyme scheme, and the singer belts it out in the proper cadence. It's strong all the way from the beginning to end. I had a hard time thinking about what bands to recommend this as, for fans of. But if you like, symphonic progressive power metal, the Chronomaster Project, Fairyland, Chaldean, even Temperance and Arion, if you like that, you like this. At any rate, check out these weird, who knows who they are, check out their album. Because I'm glad I did, and I hope that you will be too.
Hey everybody, it's Lauren Holly from Layered Reality Productions with another episode of Progtime, where I'm going to be talking about prog metal bands who have supplied soundtracks. Now, this one, we're going to be delving into a band from Italy known as Goblin. They provided the soundtrack for a couple of films that you should be familiar with if you are in the horror genre loving type of film person like me. The main theme that I was going to talk about is the film Suspiria, which was a collab with Dario Argento. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to actually watch the movie. I didn't have a chance to. I'm kind of snowed under at the moment in pre-production for an upcoming tour. However, I did listen to the soundtrack, and I can give you my 5 cents on the soundtrack. It is jazzy in parts, it's definitely proggy in a lot of parts. There are like weird ethereal little whispering bits in the background. It's rocky, it's heavy metal, it's fantastic, and I actually found it quite calming to sit and put this in my headphones and just listen whilst I was doing multiple other things at the same time. They collaborated quite a few times with Dario Argento, and fun fact, this soundtrack for Suspiria was requested to be recorded and written within a day. They actually pulled it out of the bag and sold over 1 million copies of this album and had it go to number 52 on the Italian charts, so not bad for a one-day turnaround. The other main movie that is going to be familiar to everybody in this genre would be that they supplied the opening track, the opening score, for George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which I did watch the other day, and has just been pleasantly reminded how shockingly bad it actually was, compared to the zombie movies that are out now. Obviously, I realized that it was put out in the 70s, and we didn't quite have the CGI that we have now. However, the most hilarious thing I found about that whole entire movie was the blue Hare Krishna guy that was walking up and around in the mall. They made sure that his tambourine was still attached to him, which I found hysterical. Anyway, they have been, as I said, around for quite a while. They did take a 22-year hiatus, though, and they have come back in various different names. A lot of this band's influences has been cited from big prog acts from the 70s that we all should be familiar with. Stuff like Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson. They have put those down as influences, and it's obviously very present in the direction that a lot of the music goes with Goblin. In their own way, Goblin have influenced modern prog metal acts such as Opeth, who had an instrumental on their Pale Communion album simply titled Goblin. Obviously, if you have anything that you want me to listen to, or you want me to have a watch and listen to, drop it into the comments and let me know. Give us a like and give us a follow. And again, I apologize to everyone involved that I am all over the shop. I hope to be back to normal within the next month or so. I will speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!
Hey everyone, it is James here once again for Progtime here on the LRP channel with my segment, The Story Ain't Over, where I show every month how absolutely deep I can go into the metal music nerd depravity with the most nerdy subject of them all, and that's concept albums. I can already hear my neighbors laughing at me down the street. So this month I actually decided to talk about some albums that's going to be a 3-parter, because this is a huge epic story and it'll take me way too long to explain it in just a 3-minute video. I'm of course talking about the Solvik trilogy from Seven Spires. Now, Seven Spires needs absolutely no introduction for anyone who is in the prog power metal sphere. They are a 4-piece symphonic metal band from Boston, Massachusetts. Their first 3 records tell this really great overarching story of love, loss, vampirism, sailing on the high seas, and basically just Pirates of the Caribbean, but darker and with more vampires. No, but that's oversimplifying it, though. This is a really, really well-written story, and I absolutely love how they told it. Just to speak on the music just for a little bit, obviously they write incredibly catchy songs, very dark and emotional, and the one thing that Seven Spires has that not a lot of bands do have is their songs, despite being fantastical, strangely have a lot of relatability to them. Even though a lot of these songs are talked about in the context of a story or a narrative, a lot of the messages are stuff that a lot of kids can relate to in terms of growing up, finding yourself, having to deal with all the negative emotions that come with life, but in a very optimistic way, strangely. Anyways, so I'm going to be talking about this as a 3-parter, because as I said, it's going to take me way too long to talk about all of them. So I'm going to start with the album that starts the story, and that's Emerald Seas. Now, I'm not going to be going in any sort of order chronologically in terms of release date, but in order of the story. And even though this is the second album, this technically is the prequel to the whole narrative. So here we go. So Emerald Seas starts off with a young girl named Solveig. She grew up in a northern fishing town where her father used to tell her fantastical stories of the Fountain of Youth and the island on which it is found. This is basically every sailor's dream, is to find the Fountain of Youth. Along with that, in the town, she also has one friend who's a young bard boy who she spends a lot of her time with as well. Now, when she becomes of age, she decides to become a sailor, leave her hometown, and make every sailor's pilgrimage, and that is to find the Fountain of Youth. And then she spends her developing years going from port to port, trying to find any clues that she can find on the Fountain of Youth and where to find it. Many, many years goes by, and one night in an inn, she comes across the bard boy who she grew up with, and they have this really great, amazing, sweet reconnection and reunion. That friendship very quickly blossoms into romance. Solveig decides that she has dedicated her whole life to finding the Fountain of Youth, and her mission to her is far more important. So that's what she decides, although she is very wary of if she made the right decision or not. So then many more years goes by, and with new leads, she comes across these dark, stormy waters and runs across the Drowner of Worlds, which is basically this world's equivalent of the Kraken. She is very swiftly defeated by the Drowner of Worlds, and she thinks she has met her end, only for her to wash upon the shore of an island. Through absolute chance, she comes across the Fountain of Youth. Because little did she know, the Drowner of Worlds is the guardian of the island of the Fountain of Youth. When she drinks from the Fountain of Youth, she realizes that it doesn't only just give you immortality, but it actually turns it into a state of vampirism. Unfortunately, the fate that she has now found herself with is she has now taken the place of the Drowner of Worlds, and she must travel around the island on her ghost ship, dragging lost souls into the island eternally. And that is where this album ends story-wise, and is continued in the next album, which I will cover next month. So as usual, thank you very much for joining me once again, and subscribe to LRP, all that good stuff. Thank you, and stay metal, my friends.